Hi. Little announcement. You might have seen on my timeline, I recently became a CAN Fund recipient. And sponsored by CAN Fund, I would like to tell my stories. So, questions that I often get are: why did you move from Holland to Canada? How did you get into speed skating? Or why did you become so successful on the Canadian team? But what I haven't talked about much are my experiences in the Dutch speed skating systems before that. Skip ahead to today, and I'm 38 years old and a father of 2 and 5-year-old kids, and I'm preparing for one last Olympic Games. Through this channel I'll drop weekly stories and highlight them, so you can always access them through my profile. Don't forget to head over to Canadian Athletes Now and stay tuned to find out how I broke world records, became Olympic and world champion, and how I plan to do it again. This race, man, it's still one of my favorites. It was the Olympic qualification tournament in the Netherlands for the 2006 Olympic Games. So it was the end of 2005 and I was just 19 years old. It was going to be my first time in like a fully packed TL stadium. Man, I was so excited. I was doing lap times I'd never done before in training, and I just thought to myself, I'm just gonna send it in this race. I'll see what happens. If I can hold on, I can hold on. If not, then not. So, like you can see, I started with an 18.6 opener, 9.2, 9.5. People didn't do this at the time. Like they didn't go out so hard. It was more of like the 5K was considered a long race, and if you would have some left, you'd try to accelerate in the second half. So it turned a lot of heads, and it was pretty cool. The crowd went wild, and I was under the track record for like 1,000 or 1,400 meter or something. But of course, like I was 19 years old, I wasn't at that level, I couldn't hold on. In the end, my opponent, he came back at me, and I started doing 33s at some point, and I was like, oh my god, I gotta win this race. And I just gritted my teeth and brought it back to 32.5 to beat my opponent. And you know, it really put me on the map, that race. People like to see that I dare to attack a long distance like that, and they saw my grit at the end of the race. And at the end of the season I got some contract offers from commercial teams. I ended up signing with Jaak Ori's team. For me, that's what I've been dreaming of my whole life, to get a chance in a team like that, with a coach like that. So when I got that chance, I didn't know it at the time, but I made a pretty audacious decision to just go all in on speed skating. I quit school and just moved to close to the TL Stadium in Heerenveen. And they gave me 2 years to prove myself, and during those 2 years I slowly started understanding what it meant to be, you know, a champion speed skater, because I had teammates that were the best in the world. So it was really great to learn, and I started getting there. I started qualifying for international competitions, which is a pretty big deal in the Netherlands, because there are so many great skaters. Qualified for a 10K World Cup, and then the European Championship, an all-round tournament in which I was 8th of Europe, which was good performance for a young speed skater. And yeah, surely that was enough to prove myself and stay on the team and get a couple of years of more learning and more growing. Surely that was enough, right? Wrong. So what kind of happened was that, so the focus of the team went more and more towards 1,000, 1,500 meter and even 500 meter. And I was actually the only long distance speed skater on the team that was performing really well and was you know, considered for a contract renewal. They decided to go with only the sprint and middle distance part of the group, and I didn't get a new contract. What now? Find out next week. For now, please click on the link, head over to CanadianAthletesNow.ca and support this story sponsor. Continuing my story in 2008. By the way, you can find my previous stories highlighted on my profile. My old team left it pretty late to give me the final decision that they weren't gonna renew my contract, and yeah, that kind of closed the doors on any other opportunities that I had, because I was kind of expecting to stay there, and now it was too late. So I ended up going back to my regional selection, which was in the west of the Netherlands, and I had moved to the north of the Netherlands, and I wanted to stay there because I felt like that was where everything was happening really, and that's where I felt like I could get better. So it was a bit of an interesting season. I was traveling back and forth a lot. Jaco Orri still agreed to oversee my program a little bit to help me keep my momentum that I had built over the last 2 years. And I kept doing pretty well. I kept doing qualifying for World Cups, top 10 performances internationally. I was part of a really strong generation, of course with Sven Kramer, but also Wouter Oldeheuvel, Koen Verwij, Jan Blokhuizen, Jorrit Bergsma, and many more actually. So it was tough to get in there. I ended up signing a contract with a smaller team, which had been doing pretty well over the previous years, and with their performances, it was hopeful that the team would grow a bit. So you know, maybe it was a little bit of an investment in the future, and I built a really strong connection with coach Johan de Wit. And in 2010 at the World Allround Championship, we definitely had our highlight. I finished on the podium on both long distances and finished 4th overall in the World Allround Championship. So pretty big achievement there, and I decided to stay with that team for a second year. But the second year was a little bit more difficult. Some financial issues started creeping in, and at the end of it, the team kind of fell apart, unfortunately. So I had to find a new team again. You know, it's frustrating, and it was also this frustration started to hamper my performance a little bit. Yeah, that didn't go unnoticed with the big teams. So again, I couldn't find a place there, and you know, this started to become a little bit of a theme in my career, that I only had 1 or 2 seasons, and then things would kind of fall apart again. Continuing my story. So it's been pretty rocky 3 and a bit years. Yeah, if you missed those stories and you want to hear about them, you can find them highlighted on my profile. We're now in 2011, and after my previous team falling apart, it was Siep Hoekstra of the regional team of Friesland who picked me up, and he created a really nice team atmosphere where we were just working hard together and you know, finding satisfaction in the hard work, and this taught me some important lessons about being an athlete. And this team atmosphere yeah, really made me flourish up again after frustrating time. So that was really important for me, and at the end of the season I became Dutch champion all round. So that was a pretty good achievement there, and it put me up on the map again for one of the big teams, and I got to try out with the team of Jellert Anema, a team consisting of out of marathon skaters that were also transitioning into long track, mostly long distance. And as the all-round champion, I guess Jellert was hoping that I could bring a little bit extra speed to the team. So I got 3 weeks to prove myself on a training camp in Tenerife, and yeah, the training that Jellert was doing was very different from what I was used to, and the volume was brutal to me, but you know, I really wanted my spot on the team, and I just really gritted it out and showed up every day, and even though a lot of fatigue, made it through the camp, and then I'll tell you, after that I did nothing for 3 weeks. I just kind of showed up for the team training sessions, and that was it. But you know, I got to stay for a year. Yeah, it was another year of new experiences, and working with a new coach, learning new things. It didn't pay off immediately with great results, but I skated World Cups and did reasonably well, just top 10 performances. And I was really hoping to stay and, you know, really build a solid foundation and go from there in this team. But it didn't happen. I didn't get a renewal. Jellert was, yeah, really hoping I could get some extra speed in the team, but the main reason I was doing well at the all-rounds was because of my acceleration, not really my top speed. So that didn't really work out, and now, yeah, I was without a team again. And so third year in a row looking for a new team, and I landed with Johan de Wit again, who started a new team. And yeah, I'm just gonna read that last little bit. I couldn't get along with my teammates and it became a very difficult season. I failed to qualify for any international competitions that year, including the 2014 Olympic Games. That season, Dutch All-Round Championship was held at Amsterdam Olympic Running Track, a temporary ice floor, and it was an amazing celebration of the Dutch Olympic success just weeks before. But for me, it was the darkest point in my career. I was frustrated and beat down by all the moving around from the last 8 years and unhappy with my team that I couldn't get along with and completely powerless in my skating. My beliefs started to crumble and I was considering giving up on my dream. What now? Find out next week. For now, please click on the link, head over to CanadianAthletesNow.ca and support this story's sponsor. Last week we finished on my biggest low. If you want to find my previous stories, you can find them highlighted on my profile. After that, you know, I still had the lingering sense that I had something special on the ice, and now we get to the story that I've told many times before, so I want to fast forward over it a little bit. I moved to Canada. 2 years later I broke a world record on the 10 kilometers, and in 2018 another world record on the 5 kilometers, and of course the Pyeongchang Olympic Games where I won a gold and a silver medal. Did a little vacation, had a little difficult season, but in 2020 I came back in the 5 kilometers of Salt Lake City, became world champion again, and second in the 10 kilometer where I had to see my teammate Graham Fish break my own world record, which was a pretty important moment in my career actually, because yeah, it was for the first time that I could really be happy for someone that was performing better than me, because I had seen like all the work that he put in and how good he had become, and you know, I was proud for him. But after that, of course, COVID hit. We all know how that was. Training became very lonely. Most of the time we couldn't even skate the season following that. And so yeah, all the things I loved about speed skating, they kind of fell away a little bit. I also became a father, and so instead of speed skating being my love, it was now my daughter that had my love, you know, and training for the speed skating became a little bit of a drag, so I wasn't performing very well. And then of course we were getting ready for the 22 Olympics in Beijing, and things started going better, things opened up a little bit, but you know, my feelings were still not fixed, and I was still not loving speed skating as much as I had done before. But you know, Olympics were coming up, so I wasn't really thinking about that. I think when you have a preparation like that, it was logical that it didn't go very well at the Olympics. What now? Find out next week. For now, please click on the link, head over to CanadianAthletesNow.ca and support this story's sponsor. Today, the final part of my story for Canfund. If you've missed any part, I've got them highlighted on my profile. The 2022 Olympics in Beijing were our COVID Games. It was an underwhelming experience, and so were my performances. I had to find joy in speed skating again, and together with the Speed Skating Canada IST and my coach, still Bart Schouten, we developed a strategy that allowed me to have more recovery time in my program. This way I was able to combine family life with high performance sport. Late in 2022, my daughter got a little brother. And with the new training strategy, I found my passion again. But there was still a lesson I had to learn. I often worried when I was spending time with the family or the kids required attention that it would affect my recovery too much and I wouldn't get enough training. Of course, such an idea becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and the stress that comes with it drains energy too. My wife has been trying to teach me from the beginning that I'd better just accept it and enjoy it. Who knows? Maybe it gives you energy. And surprise, surprise, she was right. But it took me years to wrap my hard head around it. Now I'm super excited to do what I can to prepare for the 26 Olympics, to perform in front of my kids on the biggest stage in Milan. This story was sponsored by Canfund. Please head over to their website and see what you can do to help them support more Canadian athletes.